Welcome to Quick Course Digest. Today, we're going to talk about a word we hear all the time, but maybe don't stop to think about: production. It's pretty much the invisible engine behind everything in our lives, so let's dive in and see what it's all about. Have you ever wondered about that? I mean, really, how does a simple idea, maybe just a sketch on a napkin, turn into the actual smartphone in your hand or the coffee in your cup? That whole incredible journey, well, that's what we call production. All right, so let's start at the very beginning with the core concept. When you strip everything else away, production is really about one simple thing: creating value. At its heart, production is all about adding value. It's this process that takes a bunch of inputs, things like raw materials, energy, even information, and transforms them into finished products or services that are way more valuable than all those separate parts were on their own. And this is where we have to bust a common myth. When we think production, most of us probably picture a factory, right? But it happens absolutely everywhere. An accountant in an office, a doctor in a hospital, a farmer out in a field. They are all involved in a form of production. So if you want to produce anything, you kind of need a recipe. And it turns out, no matter what you're making, that recipe always calls for 4 essential ingredients. Let's take a look at these building blocks. These are the big 4: nature, labor, capital, and enterprise. Think of them like the 4 legs of a table. If you take even one of them away, the whole thing just collapses. Let's break down what each one means. First up is nature. This is the absolute foundation. You simply cannot produce anything without the raw materials that come from the earth. Whether it's the land you build a factory on, the water you use to grow crops, or the minerals inside your smartphone. Next, you need labor. This is the human element, all the physical effort and the brain power that people put into the process. And this part is crucial. Having really skilled labor can be the thing that takes a product from being just good to being truly great. Now, the third ingredient, capital, can be a little tricky. We often think of capital as just money, but in the world of production, that's not exactly right. Money is what you use to buy capital. This slide shows the difference perfectly. Your personal car that you use to get around, that's private property. But the exact same car, when it's used to make deliveries for a business, becomes a capital good. It's a tool that's directly involved in creating value. And finally, we have enterprise. You could call this the secret sauce. Enterprise is the vision, the skill, the organizing force that takes nature, labor, and capital and blends them together into an efficient system that actually creates a product. It's like the conductor of an orchestra. Okay, so we have our 4 essential ingredients. But how do you actually combine them? Well, it turns out there's more than one way to do it. There are 4 main blueprints for turning those ingredients into a finished product. Here are the 4 big ones: unit or job production, batch production, mass production, and continuous production. Which blueprint a company chooses really depends on what they're trying to achieve. Is it cost, speed, or customization that matters most? First on the list is unit or job production. This is all about making one single, unique item at a time. It's custom, it's bespoke. A tailored suit is the perfect example. It's made to fit you and only you. The result is total customization, but it's also the slowest and most expensive way to make something. Next up is batch production. This is where you make a specific number of items in a single production run, or a batch. You see this all the time with things like biscuits or packaged foods. This method is way more efficient than making things one by one, but the trade-off is that you have downtime when you have to stop and reset all the machines for the next batch. Then we get to the famous one: mass production. You might know it as flow production, but most of us just call it the assembly line, thanks to Henry Ford. The amazing thing about this is you can make a huge amount of one specific product for a very low cost. The downside? You lose all that flexibility. It's hard to change the line to make something different. Now, people often get mass production confused with our final type, continuous production. They're definitely similar, but there is one key difference. In mass production, you have machines and humans working together. But in continuous production, well, the machines pretty much take over the whole show. Continuous production, or process production, is a super automated system that runs nonstop. We're talking 24/7, 365 days a year. A modern brewery is a great example. The initial investment is massive, but for products that have a constant, high demand, it is the most efficient system on the entire planet. So let's just quickly recap the big ideas here. Production at its core is all about adding value. To do that, you always need the 4 key ingredients: nature, labor, capital, and enterprise. And you can combine those ingredients using one of 4 main blueprints
to create, well, pretty much everything around us.
And that leaves us with one final thought. Just take a look at the phone or the tablet or the computer that you're watching this on right now. Now that you know about the 4 blueprints, which one do you think was used to create it? Something to think about, right?